You know deep down that you're capable of more. You feel it, don't you? That hunger, that fire inside of you, whispering that you're meant for something greater. But here's the truth. Most people let that voice fade. They let fear, doubt, and excuses take control. Not you. Not today. Today we tear down the barrier standing between you and your best self. Because self-improvement isn't a mystery, it's a system. A set of principles that, when applied relentlessly, will transform your life. You don't need to be the smartest, the richest, or the luckiest person in the room. You just need the right mindset, the right actions, and the willingness to push through when others quit. This isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or hoping for change. This is about taking charge, owning your power, becoming the person you were always meant to be. Let's dive in. That voice inside your head, it's either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. And the truth is, most people don't even realize that their thoughts are the very chains holding them back. See, everything you do, every action you take, every result you create, it all starts in your mind. Your beliefs shape your reality. What you focus on, you feel. What you believe, you become. So let me ask you something. What's the story you've been telling yourself? Are you feeding your mind with the idea that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough? Because if that's what's running in the background, guess what? You're going to hesitate, you're going to pull back, you're going to find reasons why you can't instead of discovering how you can. But let me tell you something. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant the right seeds, weeds will take over. And those weeds, they show up as fear, doubt, hesitation. The problem is, most people live their entire lives watering those weeds instead of cultivating the kind of mindset that breeds success. But you're different. You're here because you're ready to take control. You're here because you know there's another level, and you're willing to do what it takes to reach it. And that starts with a simple but powerful shift. You must take control of your thoughts. You must rewire your brain to work for you, not against you. That doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything's perfect. It means choosing an empowering perspective no matter what life throws at you. Because let's be real, life will test you. It's not a question of if, but when. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to have days where nothing seems to go right. People will doubt you. You might even doubt yourself. But in those moments, you have a choice. You can surrender to the old patterns, let fear run the show, and shrink back into your comfort zone. Or you can decide right then and there to take charge, to remind yourself that every challenge is an opportunity, that every setback is a setup for a comeback. You've got to condition your mind every single day. You don't go to the gym once and expect to be fit for life, right? Your mindset works the same way. You have to train it, strengthen it, push it beyond its limits. That means feeding it with powerful thoughts, surrounding yourself with empowering influences, and eliminating the toxic narratives that have been running on repeat for years. And let me tell you something. Your mind listens to what you say. So start speaking to yourself the way a champion would. Stop saying, I'm not ready. I don't know enough. I don't have what it takes. Instead, start saying, I am resourceful. I am relentless. I figure things out no matter what. Because when you shift your language, you shift your identity. And when you shift your identity, you shift your entire life. And let's be clear, this isn't about positive thinking alone. It's about building a mental fortress so strong that nothing can shake you. It's about developing the kind of belief system that fuels action. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you can do that matters, it's what you believe you can do. Think about it. How many times have you seen people with half your talent, half your intelligence, half your potential go out and create massive success? It's not luck, it's not chance. It's because they decided to believe in themselves, and they acted on that belief again and again until the world had no choice but to believe in them too. So today, I challenge you, rewrite the script. Stop letting old fears, old doubts, and old stories dictate your future. Decide right now that you are in control. Decide that your mindset is your greatest asset. Decide that no matter what happens, you will find a way. You will grow and you will rise. Because the only limits that exist are the ones you refuse to break. You can have the best ideas in the world, the biggest dreams, the most detailed plans, but none of it matters if you don't take action. Action is the great separator. It's what turns vision into reality. It's what transforms potential into power. And the truth is, most people hesitate. Most people overthink. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect opportunity. But let me tell you something, waiting is the fastest way to kill your dreams. How many times have you caught yourself saying, I'll start when I have more time. I'll take that step when I feel ready. I'll go for it when the circumstances are right. But guess what? There is no perfect time. There is no magical moment when everything aligns. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who wait. They're the ones who move, who act, who throw themselves in the fire and figure it out along the way. And yes, action is uncomfortable. It's messy. It's unpredictable. But that's where growth happens. That's where transformation begins, because every time you hesitate, every time you overthink, you strengthen the habit of inaction. You train your brain to stay stuck. But when you act, when you push forward despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, you build momentum. And momentum is everything. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the hardest part of any challenge is just getting started? The first few steps always feel the heaviest. But once you move, once you build momentum, things start to click. You gain confidence. You figure things out. You make progress. And suddenly what once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. But most people never experience that because they stay trapped in their own heads. They let fear paralyze them. And that fear, it's just a story. A story that says, what if I fail? What if I make a mistake? What if I look stupid? But let me ask you this. What if you don't? What if you succeed? What if you win? What if taking action is the one thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live? And listen, failure is part of the process. You're going to fall, you're going to make mistakes. But that's not the problem. The real problem is letting the fear of failure stop you from even trying. Because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard is built on a foundation of failures, setbacks, and lessons learned. The difference is they didn't let those failures define them. They used them, they learned, they adjusted, and they kept moving. You've got to be willing to step into the unknown. You've got to be willing to take risks, because let me tell you, playing it safe is the riskiest thing you can do. When you stay comfortable, when you avoid action, when you wait for certainty, you rob yourself of growth. And what's worse, you train yourself to settle. You build the habit of accepting less than what you're capable of. The greatest breakthroughs don't come from knowing more, planning more, or waiting longer. They come from stepping up and doing. They come from taking that first uncomfortable step and then another and another until you look back and realize you're miles ahead of where you used to be. And I get taking action isn't always easy. Your mind will fight you. It will give you 1,000 reasons why you should wait, why you should slow down, why you should hold back. But when that happens, you have to override that instinct. You have to push through. Because action isn't about motivation, it's about commitment. It's about deciding that no matter what, you will move forward. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop looking for permission. The time is now, the moment is now. Take the leap, trust yourself, and start building the momentum that will carry you to the life you were born to live. Because the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the action you refuse to take. Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort. They avoid challenges, dodge difficulties, and stay exactly where they feel safe. But let me tell you something, growth doesn't happen in comfort. Strength isn't built when things are easy. Every time you avoid discomfort, you're choosing to stay the same. And if you stay the same, your life stays the same. Think about it. Everything you want, everything you dream of, everything you're capable of becoming exists outside of what feels easy. You weren't designed to stay comfortable. You were built to grow, to push, to expand. But that only happens when you're willing to embrace discomfort, because discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a sign that you're on the right path. Look at anyone who's achieved something extraordinary, and you'll see one common thread. They leaned into the struggle. They didn't run from it. They didn't back down when things got hard. They made the decision to push through even when every fiber of their being wanted to quit. And that's what separates the successful from the average. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's the willingness to endure, to push beyond limits, to do what others won't so they can live a life others never will. The truth is, your brain is wired to keep you safe. It's designed for survival, not success. The moment you step outside of what's familiar, your mind starts screaming at you, this is dangerous, this is uncomfortable, go back to what's safe. But that's just an illusion. That's just fear trying to keep you trapped. And if you let it, it will steal your potential. It will rob you of the life you were meant to live. So you have to make a choice. Do you want comfort or do you want growth? Because you can't have both. Growth requires struggle. It demands discomfort. But if you're willing to go through that, you come out stronger. You come out with more confidence, more resilience, more power than you ever thought possible. Think about the first time you did something that scared you. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd. Maybe it was taking a risk, making a big decision, stepping into the unknown. In the moment, it felt terrifying. But what happened afterward? You grew, you expanded, you realized you were capable of more than you thought. And that's the secret. Every time you face discomfort and push through, you level up. But most people never get to that point because the second things get tough, they retreat. They convince themselves it's not the right time, that it's too hard, that they'll try again later. But later never comes, because if you don't train yourself to handle discomfort, you'll always run from it. And if you always run from it, you'll always stay stuck. So what if, instead of avoiding discomfort, you started seeking it? What if, instead of seeing struggle as a bad thing, you saw it as the price of greatness? Because that's what it is. Every champion, every leader, every person who's built something meaningful has one thing in common. They went through the fire. They embraced the pain, the setbacks, the failures, and they came out the other side unstoppable. You have to rewire your relationship with discomfort. When things get tough, don't pull back, lean in. When fear creeps in, don't shrink in, stand tall. When doubt tries to take over, don't listen, move forward anyway, because on the other side of discomfort is the person you were born to become. You are capable of more than you can even imagine, but you'll never see it, never feel it, never live it if you keep choosing comfort over growth. So step into the unknown, push past the resistance, do the hard things. Because when you do, you'll realize the only thing that was ever standing in your way was you. Everyone loves to talk about motivation. They wait for it, chase it, depend on it like it's some magical force that's going to transform their life. But let me tell you the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It's a feeling, and feelings come and go. If you're waiting to feel motivated before you take action, you're already losing. Because motivation might get you started, but only discipline will keep you going. Discipline is the difference between people who dream about success and people who actually achieve it. It's what gets you out of bed when you don't feel like it. It's what makes you show up when no one's watching. It's what pushes you to keep moving forward even when everything inside you is screaming to quit. Without discipline, you're at the mercy of your emotions. And if you let your emotions run the show, you'll never get anywhere. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal, felt fired up about it for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but then the excitement wore off? Maybe you got tired. Maybe things got hard. Maybe life threw obstacles in your way. And what happened? You slowed down. You made excuses. You told yourself you'd get back to it later. But later never came because you weren't relying on discipline. You were relying on motivation. And this is where most people fail. They think success is about feeling inspired all the time. But the truth is, success is built in the moments when you don't feel like doing the work but do it anyway. It's built in the early mornings when you want to sleep in but push yourself to get up. It's built in the late nights when you'd rather relax but instead you grind a little harder. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your willpower. You train yourself to show up no matter what. And listen, discipline isn't something you're born with. It's not some special trait that only a few people have. It's a skill. And like any skill, it gets stronger the more you practice it. The more you push yourself to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, the easier it becomes. Before you know it, discipline becomes part of who you are. It stops being something you have to force and starts being automatic. But most people never get there because they don't push past that initial resistance. They do something for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but the moment it gets inconvenient, they stop. And then they wonder why their life isn't changing. It's because they haven't built the muscle of discipline. And without that, they're stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping, never making real progress. So how do you build it? Simple. Start small. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't overwhelm yourself with massive changes. Just commit to doing one thing every single day, no matter what. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's the last thing you want to do. Because once you prove to yourself that you can keep a promise to yourself, something shifts. you start trusting yourself, you start realizing that you're capable of so much more than you ever thought. And once you build momentum, everything changes. Because suddenly you're not fighting yourself anymore. You're not negotiating with your mind about whether or not you feel like taking action. You just do it. You stop making excuses. You stop looking for shortcuts. You just show up day in and day out because that's who you are now. And that's the secret. The people who win in life aren't the ones who feel motivated all the time. They're the ones who train themselves to keep going even when they don't feel like it. They're the ones who show up even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one's watching. Because at the end of the day, it's not your motivation that determines your success. It's your discipline. It's the standard you set for yourself. And the only question you need to ask yourself is this: are you willing to do what it takes even when you don't feel like it? Because if you are, nothing can stop you. Look around at the people in your life, the conversations you have, the environments you put yourself in. Because whether you realize it or not, these things are shaping you. Your mindset, your habits, your success, even your self-worth are constantly being influenced by what and who you surround yourself with. The truth is, you cannot rise to the next level while staying trapped in an environment that keeps you small. If you want to grow, if you want to elevate your life, you have to be intentional about the energy you allow into your space. Think about it. If you spend most of your time around people who complain, who make excuses, who settle for mediocrity, what do you think will happen to you? You will start to absorb that same mindset. You will start to lower your standards without even realizing it. But if you surround yourself with people who push limits, who think bigger, who demand more from life, you will naturally start to elevate. You will start to expect more from yourself, because the people around you set the standard for what you believe is possible. You've got to ask yourself, who am I allowing to influence me? Who am I listening to? Who am I spending time with? Are these people challenging me to grow, or are they keeping me stuck? Because let's be honest, sometimes the people closest to us are the ones holding us back, not because they don't love us, but because they see the world through their own limitations. And if you're not careful, their doubts will become your doubts. Their fears will become your fears. Their limits will become your limits. But that's not who you are. You weren't made to shrink. You weren't made to fit into someone else's idea of what's possible. You were made to grow, to expand, to create something extraordinary. But to do that, you have to put yourself in an environment that fuels that fire. You have to surround yourself with people who think bigger, who believe in possibility, who challenge you to step up. Because when you're around those kinds of people, everything shifts. Suddenly what once seemed impossible starts to feel normal. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. You start believing in yourself at a level you never have before. And it's not just about people, it's about everything you consume, the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the conversations you engage in. Because your mind is always being programmed. If you're constantly feeding it negativity, drama, distractions, you can't expect to operate at your highest level. But if you make the decision to flood your mind with powerful ideas, with strategies, with inspiration, with knowledge, you start to rewire yourself for success. You start thinking differently, moving differently, showing up differently. And let's be clear, this isn't about cutting people out of your life with no reason. It's about making a decision that your growth, your success, your potential matters more than someone else's comfort. It's about setting a standard for what you will and won't accept in your space. Because if you're serious about changing your life, you cannot afford to let just anyone influence your mindset. You cannot afford to allow negativity, small thinking, and fear-based beliefs to take root in your mind. You have to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because in a very real way it does. So ask yourself, is my environment helping me grow or holding me back? Am I surrounding myself with people who challenge me, who push me, who inspire me, or am I allowing myself to stay stuck in a space that no longer aligns with where I'm going? Because the moment you make the decision to elevate your environment, everything else starts to change. Your thinking expands, your standards rise, your actions become bolder, and suddenly the life you once only dreamed about starts becoming your reality. And that's the power of your environment. It will either shape you into the person you were meant to become, or it will keep you stuck in the person you were never meant to be. The choice is yours.